Mr. President, I wanted to ask what your message is to Ukrainian refugees on the southwest border and those that are trying to flee Ukraine from the violence.
We have made a direct means by which they can get from Europe, from Ukraine, directly to the United States without going to the southern border. In the meantime, in the southern border, we're trying to work through and make sure that it's an orderly process they're able to get in. But just so you know, we have said there's no need to go to the southern border. Fly directly to the United States. We set up a mechanism whereby they can come directly with a visa.
Mr. President, thank you. How worried are you by a growing number of Russian comments in the media and among some of their officials painting this conflict as actually already a conflict between NATO, the US, and Russia? And they're painting in very alarmist terms, talking of nuclear weapons, saying it's a life or death struggle, etc. And just separately, well, connected to that, Lavrov himself says it's already a proxy war, not a direct war, but a proxy war. So are either of those two things true, and do they worry you, those statements?
They're not true. They do concern me because it shows the desperation that Russia is feeling about their abject failure in being able to do what they set out to do in the first instance. And so I think it's more of a reflection, not of the truth, but of their failure. And so instead of saying that the Ukrainians equipped with some capability to resist Russian forces are doing this, they've got to tell their people the United States and all of NATO is engaged in taking out Russian troops and tanks, etc. So it's number one, it's an excuse for their failure. But number two, it's also, if they really mean it, no one should be making idle comments about the use of nuclear weapons or the possibility of the need to use that. It's irresponsible.
Mr. President, on that, Mr. President,
Mr. President, back on the border, Title 42, a number of your Democratic friends are pressuring the White House to maintain that policy. Can you give us a straight answer of whether you're going to heed that request or you're going to get rid of it?
I can give you a straight answer. We had proposed to eliminate that policy by the end of May. The court has said we can't so far, and what the court says we're going to do. The court could come along and say we cannot do that, and that's it.
Mr. President, you say that this is not a proxy war, but Russia clearly disagrees. They say that war means war. So how concerned are you that they may start to act accordingly, even if you disagree?
We are prepared for whatever they do.
What options do you have to ensure Poland and Bulgaria have sufficient supplies of gas?
First of all, as you know, Poland has indicated they have significant reserves of gas that they have planned for, as does, not as much, but as does Bulgaria. And we have worked with our allies from Japan on to say that we may divert our sale of the natural gas that we're sending to those countries and divert it directly to Poland and Bulgaria. So that's as much as I can tell you right now.
Sir, how concerned are you about a recession, given the GDP report today showed a contraction of 1.4% in the fourth quarter?
Well, I'm not concerned about a recession. And I mean, you're always concerned about a recession, but the GDP, fell to 1.4%. But here's the deal: we're also had last quarter consumer spending and business investment and residential investment increased at significant rates, both for leisure as well as hard products. Number one. Number two, unemployment is the lowest rate since 1970. A record 4.5 million businesses were created last year. We're in a situation where we have a very different view than Senator Scott of Republicans that want to raise taxes on the middle-class families and want to include half the small business owners in that. So I think what you're seeing is enormous growth in the country that was affected by everything from COVID and the COVID blockages that occurred along the way. Now, you always have to take a look, and no one is predicting a recession now. Some are predicting there may be a recession in 2023. I'm concerned about it, but I know one thing, that, if our Republican friends are really interested in doing something about dealing with the economic growth, and they should help us continue to lower the deficit, which we've done last year, over $350 billion. They should be willing to work with us to have a tax code that is actually one that works and everybody pays their fair share. And they should be in a position where you shouldn't be raising taxes on middle-class folks. You should be raising taxes on people who everyone acknowledges that the vast majority of Republicans aren't paying their fair share. I've said it 100 times. You have, 50 major corporations of the Fortune 500 companies made $40 billion last year, didn't pay a single penny. No one under our proposal, making their $400,000 a year, will see a penny in their taxes go up, not one penny.
Mr. President, about tying COVID aid to Ukraine aid. Do you think COVID aid and Ukraine aid should be tied together in legislation?
Well, I don't care how they do it. I'm sending them both up. I mean, they can do it separately or together, but we need them both.
Mr. President, Majority Leader Schumer said yesterday that you're, quote, getting closer to using executive authority to cancel up to $50,000 in student loan debt. Can you confirm that? What exactly are you looking to plan to do here in the coming
You mean my
months?
spokesman said that?
Majority Leader Schumer.
Look, number one, first thing we did was reform the system that was in place that didn't work for anybody, that allowed people to write off debt if they engaged in public service. We have almost 1,785,000, don't hold me the exact number, I'll get the number, 700 and some thousand have had debt forgiven, their whole debt forgiven because of their working in either as teachers or other means by which they qualify. And we continue to make that easier. Secondly, I am considering dealing with some debt reduction. I am not considering $50,000 debt reduction, but I'm in the process of taking a hard look at whether or not there will be additional debt forgiveness, and I'll have an answer on that in the next couple of weeks.
How high are you looking
Thank
at?
you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Mr. President.